So the purpose is to, so we grew up breaking in the mid 2000s. So we kind of like lost or have never been that visible to what happened before 2005, let's say, or 2009 and prior. Let's just play it safe here. But um, not a lot of it is documented. Not a lot of it is accessible. We know a lot of people here hold that footage. Like DKC has some footage. Scramble has some footage. We heard that Cholo B has some footage. Like we heard about of like local stars here that hold a lot of that footage, but it's not necessarily accessible. So for us to figure out the vibe of the energy or how things were done back then, we decided to go the route of like, let's deep dive into what people have to say in terms of stories. Because I'm sure you've never heard about this guy, you've never heard about this guy, you've never heard about this guy. You've seen it at jams, you've seen him in the cypher, but you've never heard his voice. Why don't we go and talk to him? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's how Tales of the Cypher came to be. And we're now at episode 21.
Nice.
I honestly can't complain. Like it's been nothing but fun. It's been nothing but fun. It's we're learning a lot. Emil and I, like we're all kind of like new to this thing, although I had like considerable podcasting experience. To be the co-host of our own show is a total different story than just being a member of a 4-member podcast squad, so
it's cool to kind of build your own thing.
Like you and I spoke about this a little bit. I think a lot of people are doing great initiatives, and I think it's the right time to start documenting stuff. The initial purpose is, again, to kind of just like shed some light. To shed some light on the city, and to give a voice to some of the local stars and the local pioneers of our scene, and just this idea that we can probably make this podcast go like 50, 70 episodes. And I'm sure we'll still get some new stories, a sort of new perspective, right, even when we get to that amount of episodes, but it was crazy to start hearing these stories, and to just like it just hits you that there was so much stuff that was done before you, right? And there's still so much ahead of us, but already what has happened and what has been accomplished before is so fascinating, because it really set a whole foundation for us to do all of these things. So I'm glad we got on this journey. I think it's a project that caught a lot of speed in the beginning. I think people had more time in their hands. It really caught some speed, like super fast. And it got people excited to hear about the next story, who's going to be the next guest. And we even heard stuff like, I was wondering when you would have me on. I was wondering when you were going to have this guy on, and so on and so forth. So locally, I think it has the potential to spark a lot of curiosity in regards to connecting with others and stuff. And one of my favorite things is to get messages from people that have left the scene, that are like, yo, I'm listening religiously to the podcast.
Nice.
And it's bringing back some memories. And there's a guy that hit me up, and he's like, I want to get back to dancing now because no. I'm like, yo, that's awesome. Like,
that's great.
It's crazy, man. Like, cause you can have one person listening, and you have an audience, right?
Yeah.
So that's always been the mentality. So it's a pleasure and it's an honor to have all of these people coming on to our show to share their stories.
So this just came up yesterday. I was talking with Just Rock,
Okay.
And because he's been doing a lot of stuff on like Instagram Live with kind of people that he looked up to and that he knows, and so all kinds of people, and just like the idea of there's these people have so much knowledge, and if that doesn't get documented, like not even just breaking, like this is just people in general, like, and this is like my kind of thinking of how humans have been so successful is like we have ways of passing on culture, right?
Yeah.
And those are the things that help the future generations, right? The fact that we can pass that on, and the fact that in more recent years, like things have, we had the ability to write that came about, and so that allowed us to document stuff in books and things like that. And now with the internet age, like things like any video, any audio, and then also the written stuff is all documented and in crazier numbers. Like you can store so much more. So it's an incredible time to be alive, I think. And just,
I think so too.
Just be able to start documenting that, especially with breaking or with, well, hip hop, but more so like, there's a lot of stuff that got documented with rap and that side of things, but breaking, like, because it's not spoken, right? You don't always get words written down, and it's the kind of thing, like,
that's a good point.
It's the kind of thing that if you don't have video of it, like, it's not, you don't know what it is, right?
And maybe it didn't happen like that.
Yeah, or like, even just as like an artsy kind of way of thinking about it, like if you have a painting, that thing is just there, like as long as you look at it, it's there. But breaking, or like even music to an extent, like it's the same thing. Like if it's not being performed, or if you're not playing the recording, or if you're not playing the recording of the video, right? Like it doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist unless you hit that button or you have someone performing it. Like, and so in that sense, like being able to the ability to record this stuff has like made it so much easier to document it and keep it alive, especially for these things that, like I said, they only exist when they're being performed.
Right.
So a painting, like it exists after you paint it, the performance is done of creating the painting.
Yes.
But then there's a product. It always stays there. Mm-hmm. You put it in a museum and it'll be there for as long as you can preserve the painting. Yeah. But, dancing, it's like, if you didn't record it, and I think that's kind of what's so special about it too, is it only exists for that brief moment. And like, it almost makes it more special in some ways, that if you were there, if you were lucky enough to see it, or if you were lucky enough to be at that jam, maybe that jam doesn't exist anymore. Like if Circle Kings, that's like it doesn't exist anymore.
Or like we were speaking in the beginning, like Cypher for Change.
Yeah.
I can go on and explain how I felt this and that and this and that and show pictures and videos and stuff, but like there's nothing like being in Whitehorse at that moment, like So your point is your point is extremely valid, and I find that my guess is that the speed of which some of those kids or people getting into the dance of learning how to do the dance has the potential to be a whole lot faster, or a whole lot different, let's say, than what I've experienced, what you've experienced, that people in the 90s have experienced. Like we're talking, say we speak with one of our guests, he grew up in the 90s. He saw breaking on TV once, and then he didn't see it in person for another 6 months. And then he bumped into this guy at this random park 6 months later. And then this guy had a tape that he bought at this random store. So they went to this random store 2 weeks later. So like the time frame of meeting breaking and understanding what it really is
Mm.
can take years and years and years.
Yeah.
Whereas I can be like I've there's one of my friends and students, like he quit breaking a few years ago, but he's now starting again. So I spoke to him a few days ago, and I was like, yo, you should check out, it was a plug for your channel. I was like, you should check out this guy Razzy's channel. He makes really elaborate and consistent videos and and I'm like, you should check out our podcast too. And just that, it's like, and I was like, it was so easy to feed people information because it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's free. It's accessible.
Yeah.
A lot of it is like extremely well made, well done, well thought of. Like I've recently seen on, like a lot of people are doing it, like Focus, for example, is a really solid one. I've seen this guy from Belgium, Sambo.
Okay.
I don't know what crew he's in or whatever, but like he's doing these very like YouTube-ish, very dynamic, funny videos of tutorials, but they're super well made. They're consistent. There's an image. There's a style. There's a flow to his things and stuff like that. So it's crazy. People are putting in the time. Like we've spoken about this yesterday. Like people are putting in the time. People are putting in the energy, the love, and their heart into these things, and it's out there free. It's in the world. It's on the cloud somewhere, you know. So like, if you're curious enough, there is a way for you to learn and to take all of that information. Now, the real question is, how much can you ingest? How much can you digest? And how much can you have? How much information can you actually have transcend on the floor when you actually step in the circle? That's the other part. But that whole information seeking portion of it is just a whole lot easier to grasp and to find.
Yo!